I cried editing all of that. Goodbye, UCD. Yesterday I handed in my final assignment for college, which brings an end to 5 years in university studying business. This video is a look back on my life from 18-year-old me all the way to my 22-year-old self now, and just going through the entire process of getting into college and what life was like in first, second, third and fourth year. From internships to relationships, traveling, making money, the breakdown of my mental health, moving out of the house, financial worries, and everything in between. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I think this video is cool for anybody who is thinking about going to college, is in it, or has finished, because you'll just get an insight into what my life was like behind the scenes, behind the camera, and hopefully some of these ups and downs are relatable to you, and at the end we can answering the question, is it worth going to college in today's day and age? What are some of the things I've learned going through that journey? Before this video starts, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It would help me out a lot. I put a lot of work into them, and this haircut was given to me by my neighbor, so give a thumbs up to my neighbor. I did my Even Cert back in 2015 and got 510 points. That's a lot, and I was extremely happy with it, but it wasn't for the courses that I was going for. I basically ended up missing all of my courses by 5 points, which meant that I got my fourth preference, which was to go and do genetics and cell biology in DCU. Initially, I thought it was fine, but I quickly realized that science just wasn't for me. So Christmas of that year, I dropped out and got my first ever job, which was selling alarms door to door. It was a completely commission-based job, so I was getting no hourly pay. For my parents, it was very distressing that I had dropped out of college in the first place. I didn't just decide and go get a normal job. I went off and did something where A, I wasn't getting paid unless I made a sale, and B, the working hours were ridiculous, like 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So I was never in the house. The reason was I was just trying to figure it out. I was fresh out of the Leaving Cert. I needed some time to think about what I wanted to do. So February of 2016, I reapplied to the CAO to go do business in UCD. Why did I pick that? Well, my dad recommended it, and I knew my parents would be happy with it. I eventually quit the sales job in April of that year, took up a garden centre job for the summer, and was really excited as the summer progressed to go into UCD. I had a bit of cash in my back pocket. I used that to buy my first camera, and that August I got my first job doing a month-long internship for a small business in Tala called Wildson, where I did social media for them. And it was around that time that I first started vlogging, and it was around that Casey Neistat area where everybody was documenting their life, and I just sort of fell in love with the process. I'd made YouTube videos before when I was younger, but this time it felt different. This time it felt like I would do it on a consistent basis. That's the next chapter, which is first year of college, which was largely defined by vlogging a shit ton, going on nights out for the first time in my entire life, drinking for the first time. At Christmas, I went on a ski trip, and that was the first time where I got to go on nights out. I got to see what drinking was like. I'd never drank growing up. I just wasn't that type of guy. But I began to see how cool the social life was in college. I didn't actively participate in it, but I definitely went on a few more nights out, and I saw the value that they had in terms of just great banter. But one thing really changed when I went into second year, and that was I officially got a job. In August, I went into the office of, he's like the head of student societies in UCD, and there was a job role up for offer. It was called multimedia executive, which suited me down to the ground. I applied for it and I got it. I was based out in an office in the student center, and a lot of the job revolved around going to student events, which meant that I just met a lot of people. The other side of that was that I started a freelance business because I just found that there was a market for people who wanted videos made. So I shot a lot of events that year, and was able to take that money and reinvest it back into gear. And second year for me was the first year where I felt as if I had real financial independence, and I found myself growing in confidence in terms of just doing ballsier stuff, doing videos that were just more out there. So rolling into the summer of second year, I was having a great time, but I was going out with someone, and that ended, and that hit me like a ton of bricks. And how I dealt with it was I did a shit ton of travel, and I did a shit ton of like crazy stuff, like not drugs but videos wise. That was the year that I snuck into Trinity Ball, tried to sneak into Longitude, snuck into Electric Picnic, and the big trip I went on was I went to Japan that summer. And that to me was removing myself from Ireland so I could get myself in a different headspace, I think. Japan was amazing. There was so many cool things to go see. I went with my friend Demo and we met a girl, Amy, who was happening to go to Japan at the same time as us. So the three of us stuck together for the entire trip. One thing I'd forgotten to mention was that during second year, although my grades were shit, I applied for an internship. I applied for 3 places and I ended up getting an internship in Microsoft. That year to me was a defining one. Not only because did I feel as if I became more independent because it was the first time I moved out of the house, but also I was working in a full-time job trying to manage YouTube, and my business was slowly growing as well. So all my free time in the evenings I spent trying to build the business. I guess the bad thing was that I went into that internship thinking that I could document it, and because of silly things that I'd done that summer, like sneaking into longitude, like sneaking into Electric Picnic, that was found out by that was seen by, you know, management and stuff and where I was doing my internship, and it didn't go down very well. There was other silly stuff I did and it was my fault, but it just meant that I couldn't document my internship experience. Now looking back, I probably couldn't have done that anyway, because it's the equivalent of saying I'm gonna go work for a big bank and I'm gonna film in the bank. Like, what is the bank gonna think about that? You know, I guess I had unrealistic expectations of being able to document that, but the flip side of it was, and the benefit was, when I moved out, I actually was close to Dara, or Dara. When I moved out here, we just started hanging out and spending a lot of time together, and instead of putting out a lot of vlogs, I was putting a video out once a week or once every 2 weeks, but trying to do crazy stuff like...
It's authorised by the county council.
Which county council?
Trying to make videos that had a greater potential to get a large audience. So that year I did stuff like spending a day as a garbage man, trying to do skits, which I'm terrible at acting, but I tried them. I think the beautiful part of that year was getting to develop a really great relationship with Dara, who I now would call my best friend. The 2 other big things that happened during my internship year was that I went to therapy for about 11 months to work on myself and to just get to know myself a bit better. And I started CrossFit, which fundamentally changed my life from a fitness point of view. When I went on internship, there was so much free food. I had gotten out of the habit of training and I had no goals necessarily, and just bodybuilding was getting so boring. And I was getting fat, like I was putting on weight, and I just didn't like the look of myself in the mirror. How I got into CrossFit was that I actually just wanted to make a video, which I have on my YouTube channel. It's called Noob Tries CrossFit for a week. And I wanted to see how much I could learn in a week, and I just wanted to make a viral video from it. And after a month, I just absolutely loved it. The training was helping me lose fat. I worked on my cardio for the first time, which I'd never done before. The training was really varied and I felt like I was getting a lot stronger. I loved the personalized coaching, and the community aspect was amazing. I was making friends there that we related to on some level because we all love training. And that's something that I've kept up ever since. It's something that I still do today. If anything, I do more now today than I've ever done before. But that was something I was really proud of starting during my internship. As the internship was coming to an end, so we're fast forwarding now to maybe August 2019, I was excited to go back to college. I was very much done with my internship. I'd gone on a 2-week holiday to America with Dara, and I was ready to nail final year. So the first part of the year was very much just study as much as I can, and my business at this point, it was growing at the quickest rate it had ever been. I had at least 2 to 3 jobs a week, which is video production. At this point I had branded to Fearless Media, and I had gotten like a contractor involved, Brian. He was involved in some of the videos. January of this year, I moved into an office and stuff was moving so quick. Business was growing, but the downside was that I was working non-stop. It was because I needed to start paying for more stuff. Like I needed to pay my VAT on time, and I needed to save up for income tax, and I wanted to go on a J1 this summer, and there was so many things I had to pay for. My only option was to go as hard as I could when it came to getting new business, looking after my current clientele, and just trying to keep my head together and remember that I had to finish out a degree as well. Somewhat interestingly, this disease thing hit. it cut my business in half overnight. All my event work was cut, and the only clientele I had left, I've been doing their work remotely. It was like a blessing in disguise because I've had more time now to finish out my college studies, and I fully believe if this pandemic hadn't have hit, that I would have been as busy now as I would have been before, and maybe more stressed. And I don't really know what I would have done necessarily, but it's been a blessing because over the past while I've been able to put more time into my studies. And the thing I submitted yesterday, I made my best attempt at getting a 2-1. If I end up getting a 2-2, that's fine, but I know I put my best effort in to get a 2-1, and that's all that I really care about. College can be a great way of avoiding what you want to do in life. A lot of people go there to figure stuff out. They don't really know what they want to do, but it's sort of this safe haven where you're able to ask questions and there's not a lot of expected of you, and you can just live in this cocoon for 3 or 4 years where you don't actually have to do anything. And I'm really proud that as I stand here today, I've finished a 4-year degree. I put a lot into it. Like I tried my best to make shit happen. I made close to 200 YouTube videos, reached over 1 million people with those views, got an internship in one of the biggest tech firms in the world, built a business from zero to, a livable wage. I've constantly tried to push myself and never give in to the excuse that college is, I'm going to start stuff after college is finished, because I never ever believed in that. I always believed in you can do 2 things at once. You could do even 3 things at once. It's just a question of how you allocate your time. And I'm not going to sit there and be a little boy and wish the world would be easier for me when I could just go out there and try and make it happen myself. And even if it didn't work out, then I was valiant in the effort. I was brave in trying to go after something that I find very inspiring. Was college worth it? I made it worth it. If you're in college, you can make it worth it too. Or you could not make it worth it. You could waste it. Because ultimately here we're just talking about time and how you use that asset of time and how you use the resources around you to make the most amount of value, not only for yourself, but for other people as well. If you go to college or don't go to college, whatever you do, put your time and resources into things that you're passionate about, things that you feel like you can really make a difference, and things that you're happy that even when you wake up tomorrow morning, that you're happy with the actions that you did the previous day, and you're looking forward to the future where you can make greater impact for the people around you.
Do you remember doing what you told? Caught in a daydream, being on your own. My soul is younger, my body's overgrown. Hold to the feeling before we get too old. I'm not like all of my friends. I'd rather get lost in conversation until we fade into each other again. This moment slip out through my hands. Don't ever know it if we had a chance. I like when we're falling, who knows where we'll land. Love is what happens when you make other plans. Pretend we know where we are. How do I treat you? You deserve the best. The way you teach me to never second guess. I'm not like all of my friends. I'd rather get lost in conversation until we fade into each other again. chance. I like when we're falling, who knows where we'll land. Love is what happens when you make other plans. I won't let this moment slip right through my hands. No, I never know if we had a chance. I like when we're falling.